for just a moment. But we're gonna go ahead and reverse swan dive. So we'll bend knees, hinge from the hips, we'll come up. And let's exhale, hands by our sides here into mountain. And we're gonna switch. Here, I'll scoot this way so I'm a bit more in the middle. Did you lose signal? I hope not. I didn't see anything. Okay. So from here, we're actually going to step the feet apart. I think we did this before. So they're about mat width, if you're standing this way on your mat. A little bit wider than meat of the hip distance. So a little wider than we would normally stand. And we're gonna flow through a wide leg chair. So on an inhale, we're gonna reach up, look to the sky, find this tiny back bend. Exhale, sit to chair. So we're sitting back, weight into the heels and hips. And then we'll inhale, sweeping the arms back up. I'll turn this way so you can see it on this side. Good. And we want the spine to be straight. So you can tell as I'm sitting to chair, I'm not rounding the back. I'm bending here at the hips. And on each inhale, we're looking up, we're finding that tiny back bend. Good, let's find one more. And let's meet in our chair this time. We're gonna place hands on the thighs, fingers turning in, and we're gonna find cat-cow here. So I'll turn this way. So this is all about this tailbone, really. So we're gonna start with cat. So you're tucking the tailbone under, working up the spine for the round. Inhale, turning it out, working up the spine for the curve. Good, going with the breath. And knees are staying bent the whole time. It's also good, you know, you can work on your twerking this way. Use those muscles. I don't know, is that still a thing? Let's find one more through both. So one more. Then we'll come back to a neutral spine before we come all the way up. And let's bring hands down by our sides. So still keeping our same stance. This is one of the twists that you can do when you're pregnant because it is just in the upper part of the spine. So the belly and everything is gonna stay forward. All right, so think about that. From here, belly, everything down is grounded, is connected to the floor, is rooted. Feet to belly. All right, and then we're gonna let the sternum turn first to one side or the other. Head goes behind that. And then we'll switch, turning to the other side. And you can start to swing the arms a bit, but again, keep the belly forward. So really just turning the shoulders. You can smooth it out, just go with the breath. Inhale one way, exhale the other, or whatever feels comfortable. Just make sure you're breathing deep. Again, keeping everything grounded, belly and down. Let's find one more, both directions. And we'll meet back in center. Good, from here, let's step the feet back together. We're gonna move through a sort of sun salutation, one that we can do here. So whenever you're ready, let's inhale. I'm gonna come over here. Let's inhale both arms up. Let's exhale to swan dive. So bend the knees, hinge from the hips, come all the way down. We're gonna step back to child's pose. On an inhale, we'll come forward to kneeling plank. Shift forward, exhale, crocodile. So for pregnant, this is as far as you're gonna go. You can go, I'm sorry, I said, no, I didn't. Okay, so you can go down to cobra if you want. Otherwise, press back up into plank and come back to child's pose. And then we'll step to the tops of our mats, forward fold. On the inhale, reverse swan dive, come up. Good, we're gonna exhale, chair, sit back, weight into the heels and hips. Inhale up, we're gonna do another one. So again, exhale, swan dive down. Oh, I didn't do monkey, let's do monkey this time. Inhale, lift halfway to monkey, hands on the mat or the shins. Toes is coming halfway up. Exhale, step back to child's pose. Inhale forward to kneeling plank. Shift forward, exhale, kneeling crocodile. If you want to do cobra, feel free. Otherwise, inhale, push back to kneeling plank. Then exhale back to child's pose. And we'll step to the top of the mat. Forward fold, inhale, reverse. Come up. And chair on the exhale. Good, let's do one more. We'll inhale back up. Swan dive down as you exhale. Finding monkey, inhale, lift halfway. Exhale, back to child's pose. Inhale, kneeling plank. Shift forward, exhale, crocodile. Inhale, back to kneeling plank. Exhale, child's pose. Go ahead and step to the top of the mat, forward fold. Reverse swan dive, come up. Chair on the exhale. Good, let's inhale back up. Let's exhale, mountain, hands by our sides. Good, from here, we're gonna step back to face the long edge of the mat. We want about a wingspan base on the feet, toes are turned out, heels are tucked in. We're gonna move through a moonflower. So inhale, arms up. Exhale, come down to a squat, drawing elbows in towards the spine and ribs. We'll inhale up. And again, exhale. Just going with the breath. Good, we're gonna switch the arms. So on the exhale, bring the arms to shoulder height, bring them together right in front of the body. Inhale, open, stretch them out, stretching the chest. Exhale, back together. Good, just continuing. Let's find one more. This will be our last one. Good, then let's bring hands to the hips. We're gonna find some circles in the hips. We wanna isolate here. So let's start by taking the hips to one side and then take them to the back, to the other side, to the front. Good, going with the breath. Don't lock the knees. So exhale as you go back with the hips, inhale as they come forward. Just going with the breath. So another thing, it works on your dance moves. Get those muscles going. And then whenever you're ready, let's take these circles in the opposite direction. Find one more circle. And we'll meet back at center. From here, we're gonna find a sun pose. We're gonna hold it. So bend the knees to a squat, bring arms out to shoulder height, palms face the sky. We're holding here. If you're protecting shoulders, you can use cactus arms, hands on hips, or at the heart instead. Just try and keep the spine straight. So I'll turn this way so you can see that as well. We want the spine to be straight, so we're avoiding this tailbone tuck sticking out. We want to tuck it under. And if you are having a hard time with that, you can also hinge forward a little bit to take some pressure off. We're just holding here. Finding deep breaths. My shoulders are tight today. Okay, we're gonna switch to a high crescent lunge. So for that, let's start by turning to the left, so towards the left foot. We're gonna pick up the back heel. It is important here that we do that. Pick up the back heel, make sure both toes are forward, because in Warrior One, there's a twist. And we don't want the twist for pregnant. So finding that, and then we're just going to bring both arms up, holding here, or hold cactus arms, hands on hips, or at the heart. Yes, always breathing. Always be breathing. That is like probably the most important part of yoga, actually, is the breath. Okay, let's find one more deep breath here as I say that. Exhale, release the arms. We're gonna adjust for pyramid. So we're stepping in with this back foot so it's flat with toes completely forward. This is another part that's important because it keeps from having a twist in the back. Front leg is straight without locking the knee. Then we're just gonna hinge from the hips, bring hands to the front side. What we're looking for is a stretch in this front hamstring. So if you're feeling it here, go ahead and stay. If you don't, walk past the knee to the shin. If you have blocks or something you wanna put your hands on like a chair, you can do that. Hands can also come to the mat, but for pregnant, don't go past parallel with the torso here, just so we don't move into an inversion. It's not gonna hurt you really, but if it's slight, but just focus on avoiding that. So keep holding. Sorry, I'm so used to teaching group classes where I get up and walk around the room. I can't see you guys. I can't make adjustments. But just holding here, try and keep the hips at the same height. So you might be able to see, you guys look at my butt. Look at my butt, everybody. But seriously, it's really easy to turn this hip open. You want to avoid that. So just being conscious of it. I don't know if you guys can really see that, but hopefully you can. Let's find one more deep breath here. And on the exhale, let's bend this left knee, walk hands down to the mat, and we're gonna step back to child's pose. Let's come all the way back to child's pose, and we're gonna move through. Let's actually come to all fours. Let's move through cat-cow a few times. That'll be good. So whenever you're ready, we'll start with cat, rounding through the spine. We'll inhale, cow, curving. Good, and just going a few times with the breath. Always moving from the tailbone to the head. Let's find one more through both. And we'll go back to a neutral spine. And then from here, let's see, we were on the left leg. So let's step the left foot through, and we're going to drop the back knee. Add cushion if you want. Use something under the hands if you want. I'm gonna do that. So what we're gonna do here is just sink the hips forward so we can stretch this hip flexor. Finding a few deep breaths here. Just breathing into that back toe too. Could be curled under if you want, or flat. Listen to the hips. And let's actually bring this left hand to the inside of the left leg. So I'm going to turn this way so you guys can see this. And what it's going to do is stretch the hips a bit more. So both hands come in this way. You want to hug this left knee against the body. You can drop the hands down as low as you want, but it's going to stretch this hip. It's going to stretch this hip, but just be gentle. You know what's funny, Maru, is that every time I've got, swipe on my Android phone, like autocorrect, I suppose, but every time I try to swipe possible, it puts in pregnant. So at some point, I don't know, I think it's possible. Oh no, it's probably. So if I say I'm probably blah, 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 they'll say I'm pregnant instead. So one day somebody's going to think that. Let's find one more deep breath here. On the exhale, bring the left hand back out to the outside of the leg. Pick up the back knee, come to a runner's lunge. I'm going to turn this way. And let's walk around to the center here. So from the lunge, you're walking around to the center of the mat, and we're going to find standing straddle splits. So for this pose, it's a hip opener. Once again, we want to keep the spine straight. So you have options to help find that. The first one is to bend the knees with toes and knees turned out. That just takes pressure off of the back so that you can get that stretch. If straightening the legs out is comfortable for you today, pigeon toes. So turn legs in for straight legs. You can have something under the hands. For the pregnant option, don't, again, go heart past hips, if that makes sense, so stay parallel. Otherwise, if you do have the straight legs and it does feel like you can go deeper, you can hinge forward. We just want to avoid that inversion for pregnant bodies. But finding those breaths, breathing into the hips, press into both feet like you're trying to stretch the mat between them. Now this is another one, I'm going to turn this way so you can see it, where my back is straight. I'm not rounding here. It's all on the hips. Even if I come forward, it's all on the hips. Let's find one more deep breath. And let's turn toes and knees out if they're not already. And bring hands to thighs. Come on. Good. Let's come back to our squat. And let's find chest expansion. So clasp hands together behind the back, or hold an imaginary beach ball. But if you're clasping, try and bring the palms together so we have a neutral wrist as opposed to a bent wrist. As much as you can. Good. Knees are in a squat. Ooh, I really feel this. My shoulders are tight. I don't know if you guys, I don't know if Jordan said this anywhere, but he's starting to try to learn parkour. So I've been trying to do that with him. So my shoulders are tired. All right, from here, let's go ahead and release our chest expansion. We're going to turn to the right and find our high lunge, a high crescent lunge. So again, back heel is lifted, both toes are forward, so there's no twist in the hips here. Front knee is bent. And this time, let's bring our arms out in front. We're going to find a hug. So take left arm over the right. Either hug the body like this, or you can wrap or stack the forearms for a full eagle arm. It's your choice. Just try and keep from crunching the wrists. Keep the wrists neutral. Good. And I'll turn this way so you can see it. Facing this way. Stack or hug. Any of those options. Good. Next inhale, release the arms, switch, other arm on top. Same thing. Wrap, stack, or hug. Breathe into that space between the shoulder blades. Okay. Sometimes these lunges are hard with balance. Next exhale, release arms. Let's switch to pyramid. Ooh, my legs are getting tired. Okay, so again, the back foot is flat. Both toes are forward. That's such a, like, it seems like a little obnoxious thing. That back toe turned in is going to make a huge difference in the hips. So take a moment to find that. When you're ready, front leg is straight without locking the knee. We're hinging. Start with hands on the thigh. If you don't feel the stretch, go to hands on the shin, or to blocks, or something, a chair, something that you may have, or to the mat. But we want to keep the spine nice and straight. Breathe into that hamstring. I did say that. I did say he's starting to learn parkour, which is interesting because it's parkour. Apparently what it really means is it's just finding the most efficient way through an obstacle. That's all it is. So all the like wall jumps and stuff like that are those are very high level. So you just start basically by learning to jump properly and building up your body strength. So that's what he's doing. Let's find one more deep breath. And on the exhale, bend that right knee, walk hands all the way down. We'll step back to all fours. Whew. And let's move through CatCow. I forgot what it was for a second. CatCow again. So start with cat. Exhale, rounding through the spine. Inhale, curving through the spine. And just going with the breath. Focusing on the mid back. Focus right in here, more than the low back or neck. So our vinyasas, which is technically what this is here, are all about getting that back bend into the practice. So that's why we're moving this way, since doing Cobra is not really an option for pregnant belly. So let's find one more through both. And then let's come back to a neutral spine, and we're going to switch to plank. So walk hands forward. You can do kneeling plank if you want. Shoulders stack over wrists, hips past knees, or you can curl the toes under and do regular plank. Your choice. Make sure the spine is straight. Think about the head as being the highest point. We're holding here. We're breathing deep. Make sure elbows don't lock. Still breathing. Keep breathing. Good. From here, we're going to walk back to the top of the mat. Oh, no, actually, sorry. Step back into all fours. We're going to step the right leg through. Right leg through, so we're on the same sides. We're even. Okay. Feel free to add cushion under this knee that is on the mat at our kneeling lunge here. And we're just sinking the hips forward so we can stretch this left hip flexor right here. Again, hands can be on the mat. Oh, my head always gets so itchy. Or they could be on something, could be on an object. You can also bring them up here on the thigh if you need to. Just keep the hips coming forward. And then let's bring this right hand to the inside of the right leg. Hug the right leg against the body. Still sinking the hips forward as much as feels comfortable. You can drop the hands down lower for this stretch. This is called lizard, by the way. I don't think I said the name of the pose. I'll turn this way. A Jordan cameo on yoga stream? Maybe. He doesn't like yoga. So we'll see. But he's often at work whenever I am teaching these. Although had I done it yesterday, he would have been here. All right, let's find one more deep breath. I'm going to turn that this way. And then come back up if you come forward. Bring the hand back to the outside of that leg. And from here, pick up the back knee. We're going to walk back around to the center. And find the same position you did before for our standing straddle splits. So toes and knees turned out with knees bent, or for straight legs, turn toes in. And we're going to find a twist here that you can do pregnant as well, because it is just in the upper part of the spine. So for this one, place the left hand on the mat or on something lifted if you need a little lift. Could be a book. Make sure the spine is long, and then we're just starting with the sternum. So sternum turns first to the right, head last. Right arm could go up, or it could go... Oh, thank you for the subscription. Thank you, Owen. That's awesome. You could also go to the hip with this hand. But again, make sure those hips don't turn. Make sure the belly stays forward. It's just in the upper part. And if you guys can see this, I'm not doing a whole lot. Mostly the shoulder has opened. Less is more. You don't need to do a whole lot for these twists. Next, exhale to release, come back to center, switch. So right hand is now right in front of you on the mat or on an object. Long spine again, sternum's going first to the left, head last, belly is staying forward. Find those deep breaths here. Let's find one more deep breath. On that exhale, come back to center. And then let's turn toes and knees out if they're not already. Bend the knees. We'll bring hands to thighs. We'll come all the way back up. Let's exhale, hands down to the heart. And we're going to step back to the top of the mat, finding mountain pose. And we're going to switch to some balance here. So let's do tree pose today. I think tree pose will be good for this. So bring weight and balance to the left foot or either foot. Come up onto the toes on the other foot, turn that knee out, pull that foot into the foot you're standing on. And then you have options. So my right foot here, toes are on the mat, but my heel's on the calf. Or you could bring the whole foot up to the calf, or you can bring it up to the thigh. But we want to be completely above the knee. So we're going to lift the leg first and then pull it in for that option. So no part of my foot is on that knee. And that's just important because the knee's not meant to bend sideways, so we don't want to put that pressure on it. And then hands can be at the heart. You can extend arms up, out, wherever you want to go. You can also do this by a wall if you want to hold on to a wall, just in case. Especially when you're more pregnant. You don't want to fall, of course, so feel free to take that option. We're just holding here, breathing deep. And for balance, you don't want to fight it. Don't try too hard. For me, I can move around. I'm moving around here. That's kind of the thing with balance, is it's constant movement. So be okay with that. Or step a foot down, come back up if you have to. There I go, sideways. Let's find one more deep breath here. Exhale, release that leg, shake them out if you want. And we'll switch sides. Weight and balance to the right leg or the other one. Again, come up onto the toes in this left foot, the opposite foot. Pull that foot into the right. Again, toes can stay on the mat. They can come to the calf. They can lift up to the thigh. Your choice. Hands at the heart. Extend them up, out, wherever you want to go. Or you can keep them at the heart. Oh. You know, sometimes I wish I didn't have any hair. I mean, I like hair. But whenever I get sweaty and hot, it's so annoying. Finding those deep breaths. Oh man, I'm moving all over the place today with my balance. It's weird too because balance is different on different days. Some days it's like, I don't know, it's like, oh, I could balance all day. And then some days it's like, I can't do this today. Let's find one more deep breath. On the exhale, we can release the legs, shake them out if you would like. Yes, yes. If you find a static focal point to look at whenever you're balancing, that also helps a whole lot. Okay, so from here, let's inhale, arms up. Exhale, swan dive down to forward fold. We'll just take a few moments here just to let the head, neck, shoulders release. This is a partial inversion, so we don't want to stay long. Good. Let's come back to all fours. And we're going to switch to a camel pose today. So feel free to add some cushion under the knees. We're going to be on the knees for just a moment. And we're going to come up to kneeling position. So in this kneeling position, we want to find that knees are in line with the hip sockets. There's about 2 to 3 inches between them. We're going to squeeze, my thing is not turned the right way. We're going to squeeze the knees together, almost like we're trying to bring the legs together, but not quite. And that's going to help support the core. And then we're going to bring hands into fists, place them on either side of the spine at this bony part right at the top of the hips, or do palms if you prefer. And then we're going to lift the heart, pressing elbows towards one another like you're trying to touch them together. And then press the fists into the hips and let the body fall back. We continue to think about reaching up through the heart. Just come back as far as feels comfortable. For back bends, don't force them, but also don't resist them. Just kind of find where they want to be. You're just holding here, sending the breath into the chest. Find one more deep breath. On the exhale to release, let's come down to all fours and we'll come all the way back to child's pose. And just let the back release for a moment. Yes, I think you could rename all the poses a lot of different things. You just have to memorize the new name, which is the hard part. For me, at least. All right, next inhale, let's come back to all fours. And we're gonna sink hips to one side. We're gonna swing the legs around to seated staff, and we're gonna find a hamstring stretch. So sitting tall on these butt bones, these sits bones, what they're called here. Elevate the hips if you feel like you're falling backwards. Sit on anything you have. Roll up your mat, sit on that. Sit on a cushion, blanket, pillow if you need to. I did not mean to send that far. You can also bend the knees and place something under the knees if you want. But find feet flexed, nice long spine. If you're feeling the stretch here, go ahead and stay. If you don't, you can walk the hands down the legs and hinge forward. Just stop when the spine begins to round. Holding here, finding those deep breaths. My hamstrings are tight. Ooh. It's also a great time to look at your feet. See how your feet are doing. Say hi, feet. You don't have to do that part if you don't want to. Just, if you want to be friendly to your feet. Okay, let's find 2 more deep breaths here. On that second exhale, go ahead and come back up. You come forward. We're going to switch to seated straddle splits. So turn the legs open to wherever feels comfortable. And this is another one where you can sit on something. You'd sit on a block, sit on, elevate the hips basically if you need to. And then, excuse me, again, make sure feet are flexed, toes and knees pointed to the sky. Find a long spine. If you're feeling the stretch here, you can place hands behind the hips. Just avoid leaning back on those hands. Use the hands to keep the torso at center. Or if it feels like there's a bit more room, you can hinge from the hips, walk hands down in front of you, place them on something in front of you, place them on the legs, whatever you would like. But once you've found that position, make sure toes and knees are still pointed to the sky. Sometimes they might want to turn in, sometimes they might want to turn out. Mine want to turn in. Just kind of depends on what muscles are tight in the body. Oh. Hey, thank you, Owen. I very much appreciate that. Oh, and that means we're only $30 away from cosplay yoga. Could be fun. I've never done that before, so it'll be an adventure for everyone. Okay, let's find one more deep breath here. And then hinge back up if you've come forward, and we're going to find another twist you can do when you're pregnant here. So again, same principle applies. It's just the upper part of the spine. So we're going to place the left hand right in front of us here on the mat. Make sure the spine is long. And again, we're just turning the sternum to the right, head last. Right hand will go behind the hip. And we're just using the hands to kind of keep ourselves here. Continuing to reach through the top of the head, keep the belly forward. Let's find one more deep breath. And we'll exhale, we'll come back to center. We'll switch sides. Right hand right in front of you on the mat. Long spine when you're ready. Sternum goes first to the left, head last. And again, that left hand could go behind the left hip. Just use the hands to keep yourself at center more than leaning on one side or the other. Keeping belly forward, of course. Find one more deep breath. On the exhale, we'll turn back to center. From here, place hands on thighs. Help bring the legs back together. And let's actually come to placing both feet flat on the mat. And we're going to find Pigeon Stretch, or cradle the baby for this pose is what it's really called. So place hands behind the hips, fingers turning in towards the body. We'll draw the right leg up. We're going to cross the right ankle over the left thigh. All right, and then you can just stay right here. You can extend this left leg out for less intensity, bring it closer to the body for more intensity. Good, so just find those deep breaths. Breathing into this right outer hip and glute. And try and avoid locking elbows if you can. You can also do fist first here. You also can just hold this seated tall. Just keep the spine straight, whatever feels best for you. This might feel a little bit better. Let's find 2 more deep breaths. And on that second exhale, go ahead and release the leg, and we're just going to switch sides. So draw the left leg up, cross left ankle over the thigh, And then again, you can scoot this right foot in closer, keep it further away. You could just hold this seated this way. Whatever feels best. I'll turn this way too so you guys can see it on this side. I'm trying to keep the knee open, the foot flexed. Try not to kick your microphone. Find one more deep breath. On the exhale, we can release that leg. And then from here, let's go ahead and move into final relaxation. So for pregnant, you don't want to lay on your back. If you want to lay down, lay on the left side. And just find wherever that's comfortable. Or you can stay seated. If you want to stay seated, you could do that as well, sitting up against a wall. If you're not pregnant, of course, you can lay on your back. Find Shavasana or whatever position feels comfortable. I'm going to stay seated. I'll use my meditation pad. Look at that. Just what it's for. But just find a comfortable spot. Close your eyes and turn your attention back to the breath. Letting it be deep, but don't feel like you need to force it. And we're also turning our attention to the senses, to everything around you. We're not trying to close anything off, block anything out. We just want to be here with what is. So notice what you feel, notice what you hear. And just let the sounds come to you. If you catch the mind wandering, just bring it back to the senses. And don't attach to any of the thoughts, just kind of let them go by. If you have a hard time finding something to focus on the breath. Just noticing the sensations as it comes in and out. And on those exhales, feeling the body relax. Letting go of tension, letting the jaw relax, the arms, the shoulders, the back, the legs, the head and neck. And then let's start to wiggle fingers and toes. And add wrists and ankles and just rotate them around a little bit. Then you can stretch arms over the head and just reach through the body once again. Oh, I guess we didn't actually do this today, so yeah, reaching through the body. And add the face, open the eyes wide, the mouth, stick out the tongue, take a deep exhale. Oh, always feels good on my jaw. And then if you're on your back or you're on your side, go ahead and come up to seated. And once here, let's find one more deep inhale, sweeping arms up. Exhaling, hands back to the heart. Just taking a moment to check in here. coming back to the present. Thank you all for joining me today and sharing your practice. Namaste.